Here are the horoscopes for the week of the 13th to the 19th of July 2015. Now, there's a lot going on this week building up to a new moon in Cancer on Thursday, but before we go there, just have a look at some of the background activity. So all week we have Venus square Saturn. And this is quite an awkward angle. When two planets square each other, they're not really going to blend or get on. You have to almost delegate a task for each. So we have Venus in Leo, and then we have Saturn in Scorpio. So as Venus is preparing to head into Virgo, she's on the last few days of being in Leo. So we need to have a look at what we've learnt so far, because we're going to go into a retrograde phase. So the way to work with a retrograde is to realise it's 3 stages. We have the forward swipe, and then we have the recalibration as we go backwards, and then we have the greater awareness as we go forwards again. So we're currently on the first phase of that, the awareness, as Venus prepares to leave Leo and go into Virgo, where she will retrograde and go back into Leo. So with Venus in Leo, we're looking at courage, we're looking at feline grace, we're looking at radiant self-worth. So if anything comes up this week with the complexity that we have in the charts, there could be a question of self-worth. There could be people bringing up questions of self-worth, and this may come from friendships or people that are supposed to be on our wavelength but maybe aren't anymore. So having a look at what friendships are, it's two people that resonate. It's not always going to be smooth. There'll be different phases where one is in a period of growth and another one is in stillness, or even going back to the past to sort things out, to live out those stories. So there's a deal here of kindness and strength when it comes to friendships and longevity, which is based on our own self-worth and our own stability, so that we're not looking to others to give us that love and security and stability to always be the same so that we can change. We're confident and secure in our own centre, so that if other people are changing and fluctuating, it's not going to throw us into a spiral. So Venus preparing to leave Leo before the retrograde, but square Saturn in Scorpio. So there may be some instances where friends are acting in a certain way that bring up your shadow side. If we're reacting to someone, then it might be because we have that repression or that magnetic calling inside of us to go in and have a look at ourselves. So before we're too quick to project onto others, maybe this is a week where if something triggers inside of us, we need to have a look first and say, well, that's interesting, why is that triggering me? What is there inside of me that I can go in and fix, so that we can have the situation smooth itself out more quickly? So maintaining our own wavelength, getting to know our own self-esteem, and being prepared to go in and have a look at anything that triggers us will be the short route through to a more smooth retrograde transit with both of those planets. So that's very strong all week, but maybe Monday we can start off that activity by having a look and seeing where our courage is, where our self-esteem is, where that can be shaken, and what that is actually inside of ourselves, what that's representing to us, and what can we learn from it. Another aspect we have going on all week is Mars opposite Pluto. And coming up to the new moon in Cancer, that will be taking us through the dark moon first and out the other side into the new moon. So there's Mars, Mercury and the Sun in Cancer. We spoke about this last week as being the membrane of the cells, the cellular brain and memory of all that water that's holding the memories and the thoughts of the past and how that impacts on our body. But specifically to have Mars opposite Pluto, these are seen as the two expressions of the masculine. So Mars is the lower masculine and Pluto is the higher masculine. So what's interesting about Cancer is everybody thinks that it's such a feminine, such a gentle sign, it's all motherly and nourishing. But actually it's a cardinal sign. It starts a season, it's very forward moving and can be quite controlling and hard. So even the softest people may realise that they've actually got some passive-aggressive tendencies they've got a tendency to kind of hold an energy within, a friction or an anger, and then emotionally manipulate from that place. So even though we're looking at two masculine energies, Mars and Pluto, men and women can have a look over Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to see where are you repressing and where are you trying to control from an emotional instability and make things happen on the outside and exert your will and your power. Because this is a great abuse of power and we're trying to control and we don't even realise it. That's when it gets very exhausting, and that's when the cells can get unhealthy because they're holding all of that repression and it's not being released. So with this Cancer new moon coming up on Thursday, imagine a sponge that's saturated with all of that emotion. We need to wring that sponge out so that it bounces back lighter, as in less dense, and full of air and space and capacity to take on the next round of emotions. So we need to rinse, really, is the message. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we need to have a look at whatever's going on under the surface, inside of that hard shell. Whatever emotional manipulation is going on and whatever programming is actually directing our energy to the outside. And is that fair? Is that a use or an abuse of power? Because Cancer wants to balance that. It wants to create a nurturing space, but also have that direct action. But it can hold on to emotions of the past and make its decisions from there. So we need to rinse out that sponge, ready for the new moon in Cancer on Thursday. So on Thursday, new moon in Cancer, we still have Mars opposite Pluto, we still have Venus preparing to leave Leo, square Saturn, which was just spoken about. So this is a time now, a new moon is when the sun and the moon are together, and this is a time when we can gather all of that energy. We've cleansed at the dark moon and we're ready to make some intentions going forwards. So if we have rinsed ourselves out, then we should have a lot of space in our cellular sponge to actually begin to reprogram and to start to receive and immerse ourselves in new worthwhile emotions that are free from the past, where we can actually now say, well, I am empowered enough to direct my energy with full conscience, discipline and precision, to hone and focus my skills so that I'm shooting to target and I'm effortlessly creating my new world and being conscious of the thoughts and emotions that I'm processing so that they're working fully for me rather than from an old story. So really a great deal of responsibility here. Where is your energy going? Where is it being wasted? Where do you want it to go? A lot of the time we're fighting against what we don't want, but this is an opportunity over the coming weeks to actually shoot your arrow direct and straight to target. So what is it that you do want? What is your life force energy going towards? Once we've rinsed from cellular and emotional programming so that we're not working from the past, then we have a clear way ahead to direct our soul force energy. So I always like to look at life across many lifetimes and get rid of this single life programming and the conveyor belt way that we're told to live our lives, that we should have done this by this age, or that everybody else has got that, or the accumulation of goods as we go along to try and win at the end of the day. But when we realise that it's actually presence and now that matters, and it's health and well-being and fullness, and that we actually radiate out from every present moment a vibration that creates what's coming towards us, then this is the precision, is to keep clean your now point. We've rinsed out the cells. Can you hold that space? Gratitude, joy, anticipation and simplicity can radiate out. Can you actually plan, if you need to plan at all? Can you visualize your future for a greater sense of living rather than just this accumulation, materialism, want, lack, need, control and survival? Can we rinse those out and actually be grateful that we've woken up before we start worrying in the morning, and be in joy and in love with life itself, so that we're creating from that space. The emotions that we then experience are on a higher level, and our energy is directed on a higher level to being here, to radiating those higher frequencies and to raising consciousness. So very, very deep as we go through that Cancer new moon and the Cancer dark moon just before it. Once we've rinsed out, we don't need to just fill ourselves up with unnecessary programmed emotion and go forwards and just get more soggy and saturated. We've got a chance here to say, well, if I'm going to feel something, is it authentic? Is it helping? And is it serving the greater good? Do I really control the future by worrying, or can I step more into the present moment and send out those vibrations? So we have a chance to put all of this into practice by Saturday and Sunday, as Jupiter is on the home straight in Leo. Jupiter's been in Leo since last summer and is about to go into Virgo from August onwards for about a year. And this has been a long journey of empowerment, how to stop feeling separate and survival, and how to step into the bigness, how to step into the generosity and the abundance and send those golden waves out. So just as we're wanting to learn those lessons, Jupiter gives us all the power to be able to do that. So from now until August the 11th, we'll be shown that we are empowered enough to create our world. We are bigger than we've been told. We are magnificent and connected. And how can we actually take that wisdom and apply it? Because it's wonderful learning things, and Jupiter is very much the teacher, but that's useless unless we actually apply it. So we've got a couple of weeks now of empowerment application. If something happens, can you override it? Can you go back to a place of empowerment and send out those waves to change the future, rather than getting caught up in the emotional story like we might have done before? So the application of empowerment comes in from Saturday and Sunday for the next couple of weeks to show us what we've learnt over the last year. We're bigger than we are, we're more powerful than we are, but again, it's very much from radiating from that present moment. So all the planets seem to be working together so beautifully to help us balance ourselves out, rinse ourselves out, and get back into that empowered space so that we step forward from a place of sovereignty. So a wonderful week. There's lots to do there, but even more to be. So take it day by day, have a look at what's coming up, have a look at what it represents, have a look at cleaning that out. But most important, not falling back into old patterns. It's cleaning it out once and for all and becoming sovereign to our emotions, deleting programs from the past, being grateful and holding a golden space, and realizing that that's where we're actually creating our future from, not just for us, but for the greater good as well. So those are the horoscopes for this week, and I'll see you next week. If you'd like a reading on how to rinse yourself out, how to deprogram, how to become sovereign to those emotions, or how to step into your empowerment and where the best use of your energy can be directed in the coming months, or any other reading, then please do come through to me, zoehind7@gmail.com. Also, a great way to connect with the power of nature is to realise that we're very, very connected with it. And I have one of my tree walks on Saturday the 18th on Hampstead Heath near Camden, where we go and meet the spirit of the trees, the old myth and folklore, and the magical healing properties. So a wonderful way to step into that presence and abundance and connect with the natural power. 2-hour tree walk on Hampstead Heath on Saturday, so please do contact me if you're interested in that.